It all started with a whirlwind of a morning, the kind where your alarm doesn't go off, socks don't match, and breakfast? Forget about it. They'd rush out the door, half-dressed and completely scattered, only to crash into the day with zero direction. Meetings got messy, focus was out the window, and that one presentation? A total flop. That's the thing with chaos. It bleeds into everything, especially your money mindset. When mornings start off reactive, they quietly reinforce a rich versus poor mindset, and not the kind you want to keep. See, people don't realize just how deeply their morning patterns reflect their inner world. It's all connected: your financial psychology, your energy, your ability to make decisions. Most folks operate on autopilot, driven by subconscious money blocks and a scarcity versus abundance mindset without even noticing. That's why one bad morning doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your money beliefs, your goals, your sense of control. It becomes harder to reprogram your mind for wealth when your habits are keeping you stuck in the loop of survival. After that rough morning and the embarrassment that followed, something shifted. That moment of failure turned into fuel. They realized they were living like someone who was constantly behind, mentally, emotionally, financially. And that kind of daily chaos, it never builds toward a financial freedom mindset. So instead of spiraling, they asked a bold question. What would someone with a wealth mindset do at the start of their day? The next day, things were different. No snooze button, no chaos, just discipline. They set their alarm for 5:30 a.m., just like Tim Cook and Richard Branson. Not because it sounded cool, but because they were done living reactively. Those early hours weren't just quiet, they were sacred. That time became their edge. Waking up with purpose started to feel like reclaiming control. A wealthy life doesn't start at the bank. It starts before breakfast. And let's be real, this wasn't just about waking up early. It was about stepping into a financial psychology that demanded intention. They filled their mornings with the stuff that fuels millionaire habits. Movement, mindset work, planning. No mindless scrolling. No racing the clock. By 8 a.m., they'd already done more than most people do before lunch. That kind of structure begins rewiring your brain, pulling you out of that rich versus poor mindset and into something way more powerful. A financial freedom mindset on autopilot. Now here's the kicker. This wasn't some robotic schedule ripped out of a self-help book. This was strategy, not rigidity. The idea wasn't to copy millionaires, but to think like them. A wealth mindset isn't built by mimicry, it's built by self-leadership. And when those quiet hours in the morning are owned, everything else, from money beliefs to business moves, starts lining up. Once the early wake-ups were locked in, it was time to activate both the mind and the body. No more dragging through the morning like a zombie. Instead, they began with a few minutes of deep breathing and meditation. Not the incense and singing bowl kind, just enough to quiet the noise. This pause was like a reset button for the brain. It created space to reprogram the mind for wealth by starting the day with intention instead of reaction. Right after that, it was on to movement. Nothing crazy, just 15 minutes of stretching, push-ups, or a brisk walk outside. The idea wasn't to become a bodybuilder overnight, but to build momentum. Physical activation sent a message. I'm showing up for myself today. Then came the cold shower. Brutal? Yep, but it snapped them into clarity. And that clarity? It's gold for anyone shifting from a scarcity versus abundance mindset. The discomfort trains resilience, the same kind you need to make bold financial moves. And here's the underestimated gem: journaling. A short session after the cold shower, just to capture thoughts, reflect on emotions, and anchor goals. It wasn't about writing novels, it was about sharpening self-awareness. With each entry, layers of subconscious money blocks started to surface. Thoughts like, I'm not good with money, or wealth isn't for people like me, didn't hold up anymore. Because when the body is activated and the mind is clear, the truth gets louder than the noise. At first, journaling felt awkward, like talking to a blank page. But over time, it turned into a mirror. They started with a simple gratitude log, just listing 3 things every morning. But those small lists began rewiring their money beliefs. It's hard to feel stuck in a scarcity versus abundance mindset when you're actively acknowledging what's working. Gratitude shifted their lens from, "I don't have enough," to, "I have more than I think." That tiny shift? Game-changing. Then came the to-be list. Not a to-do list, a to-be list. Who do I want to be today? Calm? Focused? Bold? That daily intention worked like internal GPS. It aligned them with the energy of someone who already lived with a wealth mindset. Because here's the truth, before you build financial freedom, you have to build the identity that can handle it. Most people try to change their bank account before changing their self-image. That's backward. They also started keeping a goal journal, not just for career or business, but for life. Tangible goals mixed with emotional ones. Make $10,000 per month. Right next to, "Feel proud of how I show up." That dual focus unlocked the bridge between millionaire habits and emotional intelligence. Each entry helped clear out subconscious money blocks and install better programming. Slowly but surely, journaling stopped being a practice and became a compass. Weekends used to be for checking out Netflix marathons, sleeping in, and scrolling for hours. But that old routine? It was just another reflection of a poor mindset pretending it was rest. So they flipped the script. Saturdays became sacred time for brain training. Instead of binging shows, they binged knowledge, books, audio programs, even long-form interviews with people who actually built wealth. They didn't just want tips, they wanted the thinking behind the moves. Books like The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel or Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker weren't just inspiration, they were mental reprogramming tools. Bit by bit, they chipped away at deep-seated money beliefs. Learning became their new form of relaxation. Ideas started flowing not just for finances, but for life. Strategy. They realized millionaires don't take weekends off from growth. They just approach them with different fuel. And no, this didn't mean hustle 24/7. It meant using free time with intention. Brain training included journaling out limiting beliefs, playing strategy games like chess, even whiteboarding business ideas that sounded wild at first. The whole weekend became a space to break the cycle of the rich versus poor mindset. When you commit to growing, even when no one's watching, you begin to reprogram your mind for wealth in ways the average person won't even understand. About halfway through the journey, something unexpected happened. The to-do list stopped working. Felt endless. Tasks got crossed off, sure, but there was no rhythm, no real flow. That's when they made the shift from a task list to time blocking. Instead of asking, "What do I have to do today?" they started asking, "When am I doing it?" That tiny change unlocked momentum. Suddenly, every hour had a job, and distractions had nowhere to hide. The beauty of time blocking isn't in the structure. It's in the freedom it creates. By setting dedicated windows for focus, breaks, meals, and even scrolling, they built a rhythm that aligned with a financial freedom mindset. Time stopped feeling like the enemy. Instead, it became a business partner. This shift also exposed hidden time drains, like 45-minute email checks or reactive multitasking that destroyed productivity. Awareness is power, especially when your goal is to escape a scarcity versus abundance mindset. They didn't stop at daily schedules either. They created weekly themes. Mondays for planning, Tuesdays for deep work, Fridays for networking or learning. It was a whole ecosystem designed to reinforce millionaire habits. Over time, this scheduling system became a reflection of their wealth mindset, not just organized, but optimized. Because people with a strong money mindset don't manage time like everyone else. They own it like an asset. They thought journaling was already deep until they met morning pages. This wasn't gratitude or goal setting. It was raw, unfiltered, stream of consciousness writing. 3 full pages, handwritten right after waking up. No structure, no censorship. Just thoughts spilling out before the brain had time to edit. And what surfaced? Limiting money beliefs, doubts, patterns. Stuff they didn't even know they were carrying. Morning pages became a daily detox for the subconscious. What's wild is how much we hide from ourselves. Through this simple habit, they uncovered phrases like, "I'm not ready yet," "I'll never catch up," and "I don't deserve that kind of life." Boom, subconscious money blocks exposed right there on paper. That's the difference between wishing for wealth and preparing for it. You can't reprogram your mind for wealth if you're secretly sabotaging yourself before you even start. It wasn't always comfortable. Some days the pages felt like therapy, but every word scribbled down added clarity. They started to spot patterns, negative loops, even creative ideas buried under fear. And with awareness came choice. They could rewrite the narrative, replace the noise with truth. This practice became one of the most powerful tools in building a financial psychology rooted in abundance, clarity, and real self-leadership. Before, mornings started with caffeine on an empty stomach and whatever breakfast was quickest, usually carbs and sugar. Sound familiar? That kind of start messes with your focus, your energy, and yep, your money mindset. So they made a simple switch: hydration first. A tall glass of water with sea salt and lemon, right out of bed. It wasn't magic, but within days, brain fog cleared and energy spiked. It was like tuning their mind to think clearer, faster, and more creatively. Then came the coffee swap. Instead of pounding espresso, they blended smoothies packed with brain food, spinach, berries, almond butter, protein, chia seeds. The change? Wild. Stable energy, fewer crashes, sharper thinking. A wealth mindset thrives on clarity, and the body plays a bigger role in that than most people admit. Fuel your body like someone with millionaire habits, and you stop surviving the day, you start dominating it. They also started timing meals around productivity windows. Lighter breakfasts, solid lunches, protein-focused dinners. It wasn't about dieting, it was about optimizing. Because someone with a financial freedom mindset doesn't just manage money, they manage energy too. And let's be real. If your brain's foggy and your gut's wrecked, how are you supposed to build wealth or make high-stakes decisions? Health isn't separate from success, it feeds it. By the end of the 30 days, the routine didn't just stick, it evolved. This wasn't about following a blueprint anymore. It became a personal ecosystem designed around what actually worked. They kept the 5:30 a.m. wake up, but shifted the meditation style. Some days it was breath work, others it was visualization. That flexibility kept things fresh, but still anchored in millionaire habits. Because a wealth mindset isn't rigid, it adapts but never loses direction. They added new elements based on their needs, like walking meetings or a silent hour to think without input. No noise, no distractions. That's where the biggest ideas came from. And that's the thing, when you're living from a financial freedom mindset, you stop chasing trends and start designing systems that fit. Systems that pull you forward, not weigh you down. The focus isn't on doing more, it's on doing what matters, consistently. Eventually, they started encouraging others to build their own rituals. Not to copy theirs, but to craft their own version. Everyone's life is different, but the principles are the same. Reprogram your mind for wealth. Drop the rich versus poor mindset. Train yourself out of scarcity. And above all, take ownership. Because once your mornings shift, everything else, from money beliefs to your bank account, starts to follow. So here's the real question. Are you going to keep living on autopilot? Or are you ready to reprogram your mind for wealth? Starting with your mornings? Because millionaire habits aren't reserved for people born into privilege or luck. They're built one choice, one routine, one mindset shift at a time. Your financial psychology, your money beliefs, your energy, they're all shaped by what you do before the world even wakes up. This isn't about perfection. It's about intention. Are you willing to trade comfort for clarity? If this hit home, let me ask you this. What one change can you start tomorrow that your future self will thank you for? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your game plan. And hey, if you're serious about shifting from a rich versus poor mindset to a real financial freedom mindset, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, Share this video with family and friends because the more people who shift their money mindset, the more we all rise together.